Welcome into Giants postgame wrap-up presented by Mercedes-Benz, the official luxury automobile of the New York Football Giants. I'm Madelyn Burke alongside Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara. And Shaun, the Giants went down to Dallas, lost a heartbreaker 37-34. And rivalry aside, you know, gotta wish Dak Prescott a speedy recovery after that tough injury.
Yeah, no doubt. Prayers up for Dak, obviously. For the Giants, a disappointing loss. The question coming into this game, Madelyn, was could the Giants keep up with this high-powered Dallas Cowboys offense? Number one in the league, averaging 31 points a game. And the Giants came out swinging, and they scored points early on offense as well as defense. So they got some help from Kyler Fackrell. They found themselves up 14-3. But you mentioned it, Dak Prescott, the injury, the gruesome injury to his ankle. And then also they lost Lorenzo Carter early on in that game to an Achilles injury. So two tough losses for both teams. And in the end, even with the lead, the Giants could not come up with defensive plays to stop them and to come away with the win.
Yeah, and Prescott carted off the field with that ankle injury. He will have surgery on it. But Andy Dalton stepped in. And with a minute to play in this game, he made some plays to drive the Cowboys down the field.
Yeah, questionable no call right there, holding by the right tackle on B.J. Hill. But this throw right here by Andrew Dalton on the sideline, James Bradbury, I don't know what else he could have done. You'll see from this angle the toe drag swag right here by Michael Gallup. Look at that right foot. I mean, he just lingers it just long enough on the turf. And then right after that to come back with this big throw, Madelyn. I mean, huge up the sideline, giving his receiver a great chance to come down with the ball. The coverage is there, a little bit of contact, but for him to be able to get those 2 feet in on that catch was even more impressive than the first one. So great throws by Andy Dalton. Tough plays for the defense. They couldn't get pressure on that second throw, which enabled Andy Dalton to step up and make that play.
Yeah, and respect to Michael Gallup right there, working the sideline. Both of those catches had to be reviewed to make sure he was in. He was, in fact, and then that set up the game-winning field goal for Dallas. But as much of a heartbreaker as this was, Shaun, there were a lot of positives for the Giants, especially offensively, the way they started off this game. I mean, look at this trickery right here, the flea flicker.
Yeah, I thought the play calling was excellent to start off. The flea flicker right there. Daniel Jones got pressure and found a way to find Darius Slayton on the sideline with his own little toe drag swag.
Right there, yeah.
And then this end around to Evan Ingram. We saw that same play result in a fumble earlier on this year. They corrected it. Evan Ingram showing his wheels and a nice job of outrunning Everson Griffin, the defensive end right there. So nice little wrinkles that Jason Garrett sprinkled in there. No doubt he wanted to put his best foot forward in his old house with his old team watching him and his old coaches. But, you know, I thought that they kept the defense, the Dallas Cowboys defense, on their heels early on in the game.
Yeah, and that Evan Ingram touchdown, that was a rushing touchdown. That one right there. The Giants got the run game going a little bit this week, too. Take a look at this graphic. Take a look at these numbers we have here. The Giants had struggled to get things going on the ground here, but look at this. Devontae Freeman, 60 yards on the ground. He led the Giants running this week.
Yeah, Devontae Freeman got north-south. He looks more comfortable than he even did in the first couple of games. He's finding his rhythm. He's finding some of the pockets. He had 53 yards rushing in the first half, so he was a very big factor in this running game. I thought they did a great job with a weak counter play. Here it is right here. We used to call this counter 35 wide tangle. You pull the backside guard, you pull the tight end around, and you could see him fitting nicely off Will Hernandez right there on the pull. He's doing a great job of setting up those blocks, and then here he is as a receiver getting some great yards after the catch right here, the little burst, and then he even punched the ball in from the 1 yard line for a big score later on in the game. There you see that downhill running, and I tell you what, he's kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog. And when he picks up speed, he runs with power too, and I don't think people are expecting that much power from him because he's really not that big of a back.
Yeah, he's a little mighty Sonic the Hedgehog. I really like that comparison. That brings it back for the 90s kids out there. You know, those young 90s kids right there.
Or 2000s.
Or 2000s. I don't know, either one. You know, the Giants also had some moments that they coulda, shoulda, woulda, and really wanted to. I mean, Daniel Jones had that fumble he lost to Anthony Brown, but then also 2 touchdowns that could have been, if not for the flags right there. This one on that trick play.
Such a great call, Madelyn. I mean, look, Mike McCarthy, they didn't even know what happened. Joe Judge is furious right there. Take it out on the headset. Yeah, somebody else is going to have to fix that, Joe. Well, you look at the play call right here. Cam Fleming, number 75, he's still moving at the snap. So I don't think he wasn't set. He didn't know that they were going to snap it right then and there. But clearly, Dallas Cowboys did not see Evan Ingram. It's a great play call, great design. And then this throw right here to Darius Slayton, this was a touchdown. When you see a guy that wide open, all right, the alert goes off, something happened, and Daniel Jones can't believe it. They call a penalty right here on Ratley for running into the defender right there, a little pick route. You've got to sell it a little bit better. You could see the contact right there. You got to try to find a way to avoid it and make it seem more incidental, but that was a huge play, and Of course, Darius Slayton can't believe it. He's gone 4 games now without a touchdown, so that was his chance for pay dirt.
Yeah, it was a really pretty play right there. It was a little hard to see that penalty thrown, but you know what? Some positives, some areas of growth, and we'll hear a little bit more about that as we'll hear from head coach Joe Judge after the break. That and much more coming up here on Giants post-game wrap-up on MSG Networks. We will be right back. And hey, the Giants app, you want to download it. For the latest game highlights and analysis, download the Giants mobile app on your device's app store.
I think obviously disappointed that we didn't come away with the win, but you know, at the same time we fought hard, we fought for 4 quarters. So you know, we know there's things that we have to clean up, there's things that we have to do better in order to get wins at the end of the day. So obviously I think disappointment right now is the overall feeling, but we're not going to let one game define us. We're not going to let this game linger and affect the rest of our season.
Welcome back to Giants post-game wrap-up presented by Mercedes-Benz. That was Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton, 8 receptions, 129 yards on the night. Now we'll send it back out to Dallas as head coach Joe Judge addresses the media, presented by Toyota.
All right, guys, appreciate you waiting. Look, we knew coming down here it was going to be a 60-minute battle. Obviously it was. We've got to do some things to clean some things up. I'm going to reserve several comments until I see them on the tape completely. But when I have clear answers, I'll give them to you. Before we get too much into the football with the game itself, look, rivalry or not, all of our thoughts and prayers are with Dak Prescott. A tremendous amount of respect for him as a player, even more as a person. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. Obviously, that was a bad-looking injury. And, you know, look, our players are concerned about him. Coaching staff are all concerned about him. We hope for the best recovery he can have. That being said, I'll open up now to questions.
Paul Schwartz. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, you slammed your headset down on that the fake that should have worked but didn't. Did you not like the call? Did you not like the execution? And you know, just the loss of having, you know, a touchdown that you had taken off the board there.
Yeah, you know what? Be honest with you, I was mad at our execution that we took points off the board, and that was it, point blank. You know, you prepare for something like that. You called it at a certain time. It came up. You want to see it work. We've got to clean that up.
Was that your punter getting a little too quick on the draw, or was it all on the line there?
It's a combination of several things, but we have to do better as a unit, making sure we execute that the right way.
Tom Rock. Joe, you were pretty good with penalties all year, and then you had 2 touchdowns taken away by them in this game. How much does that sting?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, we've got to be better than that with the penalties. I'm not going to get in too much of debates with officials. They call it. We have to be better than that. We have to be cleaner than that. Comes down to the best technique we can play with and make sure in the right place at the right time and not put ourselves in position for penalties. So, look, you don't want to do anything that sets your team behind, and penalties never help you out. So we've got to be cleaner with that.
On the Daniel Jones fumble, do you blame him, or did you put more on Andrew Thomas for allowing that sack from behind?
Obviously, I saw some of that live. My eyes are not always directly on, you know, Daniel the entire time. So I got to look at the tape before I go back and talk to the team exactly what we have to clean up there. But, you know, we've got to make sure we eliminate those.
Don Levy. Don Levy.
Yeah, the last drive there for your offense, obviously trying to manage the clock, not give them too much time to get a first down.
Ryan, I'm having a tough time hearing you. Can you repeat that? I'm having a real tough time hearing you.
I said the last time you guys had the ball there, trying to go down and score, but also not leave them too much time in case you had a punt. How do you manage that situation?
Yeah, you know, we had a situation, you know, we had a runner get knocked out of bounds. Obviously, they had timeouts. But, you know, hey, look, we're trying to be aggressive to get down the field. That was a situation we wanted to get a first down, give ourselves a chance to get in the field goal range and win the game. So there's different ways we can manage it. We've already managed it different ways in different games. You know, we always talk through those decisions. We're on the headsets together, making sure we're on the same page. So, look, we got to play all 3 sides of the ball, complementary football. So in that position there, offense, we want to execute. Special teams, if we don't get it, we have to flip the field and give position. I thought the punt team did that all day pretty good. And then defensively, we have to go out there and, you know, execute in the situation we're presented.
Jordan.
Hey, Joe, I wonder if Lorenzo Carter, they said he had an Achilles injury. How big a concern is that his season is going to end there?
You know what, Jordan, I don't have the official diagnosis right now. The trainers have told me that right now they've got to examine him, get the exact deal. But, you know, look, our thoughts and prayers with him as well. I'm hoping that it's, you know, a short-term deal, get him back. And once the doctors let us know exactly what it is, we'll have an idea on the rest of the season.
And in regards to, you had a second touchdown taken away. they called it, pass interference, illegal contact, a pick play, whatever we want to term it. What did you see on that, and what were your thoughts on that?
I want to go back and really look at it on tape to see exactly how far downfield we were on the play. To me, it's on those plays, it's up to us to execute the right way. We understand there's some, spot routes and rubs and some friction you're trying to create with some defensive players based on things they're doing. That's up to us to execute the right way. But, I've got to see that. I didn't get a clear shot of the replay up top. I want to make sure I get a good shot of that on the film before I really start making comments.
Lombardo.
Hey, Joe, their last big pass down the field to Michael Gallup, what happened there?
Yeah, they just made a big play. He's a good receiver, and he made a great pass. We were in a good position defensively, and they made a play. That's it. They got good players on our team, and, they give him enough shots down the field. He's been making those plays all year. So, hey, look, you got to give him credit where credit's due.
Pat Leonard.
Joe, on the play before that, did you think B.J. Hill was held? And, after Dak went down, what did you think of your defense's performance?
In terms of the holding, again, the officials call it. I'm not going to get in a debate or any kind of, public scrutiny of that right there. It is what it is. We've got to play through the situation of what it is. In terms of when Andy came in, Andy's obviously a very capable quarterback. He's, done a good job in this league for some time. He actually complements our offense very well behind Dak because he's a guy who's got some ability. He can get on the edge. He can run the boots. They don't have to change their offense too much with Andy. I thought we did a decent job, as far as getting the run fit at certain times. Other times we let up too much of it. So we've got to make sure we fix, the run game first and make sure we're more consistent with that. And then they made some plays down the field, and they got talented receivers. We got to do a better job just finishing out the game.
Thanks.
Ralph.
Joe, obviously your record's not what you wanted it to be. I'm wondering, though, have you seen progress that's acceptable to you at all so far this season, or does that not matter when you're 0-5?
Well, that's all that really matters to us, to be honest with you, is the progress we're making right now. Okay? The record will come, all right, in time. Obviously, we're not happy about losses. That's not what we do here. But I've seen a lot of progress on all fronts and all units. We have to keep making consistent progress to keep being a better team as the year goes.
Hey, Ralph kind of stole my question there, but let me ask you, Coach, about Evan Ingram and the way that you used him today, some creative ways to get the ball to Evan. Is that kind of, the way you hope to use him going forward?
Yeah, I say every week, everyone that we take to the game we're looking to use. Evan's definitely a player we want to have involved in the game plan as much as we can, whether that's handling the ball or using some kind of misdirection or throwing the ball down the field. Look, however Jason comes up with a way throughout the week to use them, we practice it, we make sure it's sound, and it gives us a chance to be successful. So however we get the ball to our guys, we'll use them any way possible.
We'll take two more. Chris and Tom Rock. Chris.
Coach, Jason Garrett really seemed to open the playbook today. Talk about your offense and your offensive line and what you saw today.
Say that last part one more time. Sorry, I have a tough time hearing.
Coach Garrett really opened the playbook a lot today. He had the Cowboys on his heels in the first half. Talk about his offensive plan today and your offensive line and what you saw.
Yeah, look, overall, I thought Jason put together a good, aggressive game plan. We're taking shots down the field. Our guys made plays. We put them in position to go out there and, win a football game. Overall, I got to watch the tape. But, look, I like the way we called the game today. It was aggressive. We gave our guys shots down the field, and the guys made plays when we needed to.
Last one here, Tom Rock. So you guys, haven't won a game. You were up 17-3. You were up by 3 points in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter. What's the mood of this team right now?
What's the last part of that, Tom? What's the what now?
The mood of this team. What was the locker room like?
Look, obviously they're disappointed after any game we don't come out winners. But the one thing that I know about our team is it's a resilient group and it's a hard-working bunch. When we come back to work this week, we're going to see great energy. We're going to have great focus, and we're going to get tuned in ready for another division opponent. All of our focus, whether it's win or loss, shifts to the next opponent the next morning anyway. So we got to clean up this game, learn the next opponent, and move on forward.
That was Giants head coach Joe Judge. And Shaun, one thing that stood out is he focused on the progress that this team has made. And we've seen tangible examples of that. But when you're a player, how do you handle it that you see the progress, but the record isn't necessarily reflecting where you'd like it to be?
Yeah, I think the words that come to me are disappointed but not discouraged. And I think when you're listening to Joe Judge talk about his team, and you come in on Monday, the day after a game, there are a lot of great plays that you could show your team. Say, look, here's when we do everything right, when we execute, look at how good we can be. There's plenty of examples for that. It's when we shoot ourselves in the foot. You know, usually it's been the turnovers this season. Tonight it was the penalties, and those penalties were on touchdown plays, so that took points off the board. There's 2 or 3 plays in every game that are going to dictate the outcome, and those were huge plays. So I think that the players have bought into what Joe Judge is teaching them, what the coordinators are teaching them. You could see, look, they had a chance. For the first time all season, they had a lead in the second half. Mm-hmm. So that's something to definitely build on. I think they're so close, but the reality is this division's wide open. So if you're Joe Judge, look, you've got to correct this game, you've got to correct the film, and then you've got to move on. And I think the offense continues to show improvement. They do need to protect better. Daniel Jones threw the ball 33 times tonight, Madelyn. He was hit 10 times. That's not good enough.
Yeah, not what you want to see. But you know what? A young team, a new coaching staff, as Joe Judge said, he just wants to see them clean it up a little bit. And after the break, we're going to hear from Giants quarterback Daniel Jones. That and more to come here on Giants Postgame Wrap-Up presented by Mercedes-Benz on MSG Network. Tonight's scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Investors Bank. Get the official New York Giants checking account only from Investors Bank. Visit investorsbank.com/Giants for more details. In the fourth quarter, Andy Dalton loses the snap. Blake Martinez falls on top of it. Dalton fumbles it, chases after it right here, but Martinez grabs the ball. Giants gain possession in the red zone. Then, 3rd and 6, Daniel Jones hits Darius Slayton, setting up this 2nd and goal run. Devontae Freeman runs it in, punches it in for the touchdown. This would also end in a 2-point conversion caught by rookie tackle Andrew Thomas. Getting that 2-point conversion, 5 plays, 17 total yards, took 2 minutes and 9 seconds off the clock, ended by that Freeman 4-yard touchdown run to give the Giants a lead late in the game. That was the Investors Bank drive of the game, and now we'll send it down to quarterback Daniel Jones.
All these divisional games are big games and important games. You know, it certainly, you know, like I said, disappointing to lose, but we don't feel like we're out of the division at all. We got, you know, a couple big division games coming up, and you know, all we can do is prepare as hard as we can and be ready to play those games. So, like I said, we're not going to let this game affect us, you know, going forward and how we prepare for the next opportunities.
Shaun, Daniel Jones is right. Despite the rough start to this season, they're not out of this division just yet. What are your reactions to that?
Yeah, no, it's good that he's having that positive mindset. Obviously, when you go on the road and you have 34 points, you know, offensively things are getting a little bit better. I'm sure he would love to have Sterling Shepard back out there. It looks like there's so many times when Slayton's not open and he's looking for somebody to go to. It's basically Slayton and Evan Ingram that he has. So I think for Daniel Jones, he's still learning. People have to remember it's still his second year and it's still a new offense for him. So I like his grit, I like his toughness, and I like his leadership. Things
are coming together for this Giants team. Maybe not as quickly as they'd like to, but they are coming together. We got a lot more reaction and analysis coming up after this break. Stay with us here on Giants Postgame Wrap-Up, presented by Mercedes-Benz, the official luxury automobile of the New York Football Giants.
It's football. Not every call goes your way. Not every ball bounces your way. What are you going to do about it? Like I said, we got a bunch of fighters. I'll be back in the lab 5 a.m. tomorrow and do what I got to do. I'm not going anywhere. So Washington got to come see us next week, and we're going to make it tough. So we got to clean up what we got to clean up. But look, this one, like I said, credit to the Dallas Cowboys, but it was a lot of self-inflicted wounds, some missed tackles defensively, some mental errors defensively. And, look, we scored on defense. We did a lot of good things, but we're not getting no more attaboys, no more pats on the back for close losses. That time is done. The fan base deserves wins, and we're going to do what we got to do to get some wins for the fans.
That was Logan Ryan, but putting this week's game behind us and looking ahead to next week, Shaun, the Giants host the Washington football team Sunday at 1 p.m. The Washington football team lost to the Rams 30-10 this week. They benched Kyle Allen, who got hurt, and had Alex Smith return to that quarterback position in a triumphant comeback after all he's been through. But what are your anticipations of this, another division game for the Giants?
Yeah, Madelyn, Washington has some problems of their own. They're coming off a 4-game losing streak. You mentioned Kyle Allen got knocked out of the game. Alex Smith came in. Offensively, they have Terry McLaurin at wide receiver. He's a handful. And then defensively, they have a number of great pass rushers. So no doubt the Giants' offensive line and Daniel Jones are going to have their hands full trying to protect him and trying to find a way to get some big chunks against a former teammate in Landon Collins.
There you go. And that pass rush, like you mentioned, that pass rush is coming in fierce against an offensive line that has had that struggle. How do you focus on that in a week in practice?
Run the football.
Run the football. That's what you want to see, and that's what we want to see. And, hey, we are here every game day, 11:30 Eastern on MSG Network. After the game, we'll wrap it all up with highlights, sound analysis for Shaun O'Hara. I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for watching with us. Giants, tough loss to the Cowboys, but they were in it this week, Shaun.
They were.
Really
I'll be back in the lab at 5 a.m. too.
I'll be back in the lab, too. We'll see you.
With my pen and my pad.